Now, there's a common belief people carry about strength and power. If someone is powerful enough, smart enough, and capable enough, then eventually they should be able to finish things. Not endlessly respond, not manage, not contain, but finish. So when people look at Israel, that belief quietly activates. Israel has one of the most advanced militaries in the world, one of the most sophisticated intelligence networks ever built. They have rapid mobilization, they can do precision strikes, they have cyber capability, and yet their conflict never ends. It pauses, it reshapes, it changes location, but it never resolves. That contradiction is where this question begins. So here's the clarity that shifts the entire frame, your mental mindset about this situation. Israel can win almost every battle it chooses to fight, but it cannot end the conflict without creating dangers and risks that it cannot live with. Not because it lacks force, but because endings have consequences too. Now, at first glance, the solution feels obvious. If the threat keeps returning, eliminate the source. Strike them harder, go deeper, and be more decisive. And that's how most people are taught to think about conflict. If something keeps hurting you, remove it. So the question is, why doesn't Israel just do that? Why not a decisive strike against Iran itself? Why not dismantle the proxy network completely? Why not force an ending? The answer isn't military, it's structural. To truly end this conflict with Iran, with Gaza, in the Middle East, Israel would need to do something far more extreme than most discussions can admit. It would need to permanently remove Iran's ability to influence the region. That doesn't mean a single airstrike or a single campaign or even a short war like the 12-Day War. It would mean regime-level transformation inside Iran, or the permanent dismantling of Iran's regional proxy network, or the elimination of Iran's long-term deterrence capability. None of those are clean, and none of those are quick, and none of those are achievable by Israel alone. So even attempting them risks cascading consequences Israel cannot fully control without help. So here's why decisive strikes won't resolve anything. This is where people underestimate how Iran's strategy is built. Iran's power is not centralized. It doesn't sit in one building. It doesn't have just one leader or one weapon system. It's distributed. It's distributed across geography, across militias, across missiles, ideology, influence networks. So when Israel strikes, it doesn't end the system, it triggers responses elsewhere. The battlefield gets bigger, it widens, and the timeline extends. A decisive blow becomes an opening move. Now, this is where people usually emotionally diverge, not because of intelligence or ideology, but because how they respond to uncertainty. Some people believe clarity only comes from force. If you hit hard enough, the confusion disappears. Others believe that survival comes from restraint. You avoid the action that turns tension into permanence. And then there's another instinct, one that understands the most dangerous moment isn't losing control of a battle, it's losing control of escalation. Israel often operates from that instinct. Israel's strength is decisiveness. Its weakness is duration. It is a small country, it has a dense population, a reserve-based military, and an economy tied closely to civilian stability. Israel can fight short wars extremely well, but prolonged region-wide conflict strains everything at once. It strains its mobilization, its economy, its society, its politics. So Israel avoids actions that turn short episodes of violence into permanent war. Now there's another constraint people often ignore, and that's legitimacy. Israel operates under constant international scrutiny. Every single escalation carries diplomatic consequences, alliance pressure, economic effects, and narrative costs. The kind of force required to truly end everything in the Middle East for Israel would almost certainly isolate Israel internationally. And isolation doesn't look dramatic at first. It looks slow, quiet, and accumulating. Winning militarily while losing legitimacy is not a stable victory. So here's the mental frame that's going to organize everything here for you. Israel isn't trying to end the conflict. It's trying to keep it survivable, contained, interruptible, non-terminal. Because a final war might produce a clear outcome, but leave behind a state that's less secure than before. This is the symmetry most people miss. Iran avoids full war because losing threatens regime survival. And Israel avoids full war because winning could destabilize the state. Different systems, but the same logic. Both are acting rationally within constraints. So the conflict continues, not because no one is capable, but because everyone understands the cost of finality, and neither side believes that cost is worth paying. Which brings me to something else. Currently, there are protests going on in Iran, and I see a lot of people saying, well, Iran, they're about to be toppled. But are they really going to be toppled, is the question. Because obviously Israel is looking at this like this is the perfect outcome. They don't even have to attack militarily. Iran is just going to cave in from the inside. But in the next video, we're going to dive in closer into what's happening with these protests and talk about the survivability of Iran because of these protests.